If I showed you a photo of Dubai in 1960 and told you this was the same place as the Dubai of today, you'd call me a liar. In 1960, there were no roads. Men fished the creek by hand and dove into the Gulf looking for pearls to sell. Families built their homes from palm branches. There was no airport, no skyscraper, no air conditioning. There was barely electricity. A photographer who arrived from Mumbai that year with less than $1 in his pocket later described what he found. When I first arrived, theirs was nothing. There were only desert signs to follow. Today, that same patch of desert is home to the tallest building on Earth. It welcomes more tourists every year than France. It has a ski slope inside a shopping mall, in the middle of a city where the summer temperature regularly hits 45 degrees. And it did all of this. Here's the part nobody talks about without oil. Abu Dhabi has oil. Dubai barely does. Dubai's oil ran out in the 1990s, and the city knew it was coming decades before it happened. So someone had to figure out another way. And what that someone built instead is one of the most deliberate, ruthless, and frankly brilliant economic experiments in modern history. This is the real story of Dubai, not the Instagram version, the business version. The transformation didn't start with Sheikh Mohammed, the man most people associate with modern Dubai. It started with his father. Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum became ruler of Dubai in 1958. The city he inherited was genuinely poor. The pearl industry that had been the economic backbone of the Gulf for centuries had collapsed in the 1930s, when Japan invented cultured pearls and wiped out the market almost overnight. The Great Depression finished what Japan started. By the time Rashid took over, Dubai was a small trading port, trying to survive on re-exports and fishing. He made a decision that defined everything that followed. He borrowed money, serious money, more than many thought a city this size could repay, and he dredged the Dubai Creek. That single infrastructure decision, taken in the early 1960s, turned a shallow tidal inlet into a proper commercial port that larger cargo ships could actually navigate. Trade volume jumped, merchants came, and for the first time, Dubai had something to build on. When oil was discovered in 1966, a relatively modest reserve compared to Abu Dhabi's vast fields, Rashid did something unusual with the revenue. Instead of distributing it as personal wealth or funding military expansion, he used it to build infrastructure for a future where the oil would be gone. Ports, roads, an airport, a dry dock. He is reported to have said, "My grandfather rode a camel. My father rode a camel. I drive a Mercedes. My son drives a Land Rover. His son will drive a Land Rover, but his son will ride a camel." He understood the math. The oil wouldn't last, and he started building before most rulers would have had the courage to admit that. Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum grew up watching his father build. He traveled to Europe with Rashid as a teenager and came back with a question he spent the rest of his life answering. Why couldn't Dubai look like that? He became ruler in 2006. By then, Dubai's oil contribution to GDP had already fallen to under 5%. The runway his father built was real, but the plane hadn't taken off yet. What Mohammed understood that most leaders don't is that a city competes for people the same way a company competes for customers. And what makes people choose one city over another is rarely rational. It's emotional. It's about what a place makes you feel when you're in it. So he made Dubai feel like the future. The Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world when it opened in 2010, wasn't built because Dubai needed office space. It was built because a city that has the tallest building on Earth is a city that the entire world has to look at. The Palm Islands weren't built because Dubai needed more coastline. They were built because a man-made archipelago visible from space is a city that makes the entire world ask, how? Most people talk. We do things. They plan. We achieve. They hesitate. We move ahead. We are living proof that when human beings have the courage and commitment to transform a dream into reality, there is nothing that can stop them. Muhammad said that. And whether you agree with how he runs a country or not, he meant it literally. He was describing a construction site. Here's where most coverage of Dubai stops, at the spectacle. The towers, the ski slope, the gold ATMs, but the spectacle is just the marketing. The actual machine that made it possible is less glamorous and far more interesting. Dubai had a problem every developing economy faces. Why would a global business choose to set up here instead of London, New York, or Singapore? The answer they came up with was radical simplicity. Zero income tax, not low income tax, zero. No personal income tax, no capital gains tax. If you make money in Dubai, you keep it. That one decision changed the calculation for every high earner and every company on earth. Then came the free zones. Dubai carved its territory into dozens of special economic zones. Dubai Internet City, Dubai Media City, Dubai International Financial Center, Jebel Ali Free Zone, where foreign companies could own 100% of their business without a local partner, repatriate 100% of their profits, and operate under their own legal frameworks. In most countries in the region, foreign ownership of a business requires a local sponsor who holds 51% of the company. In a free zone, that rule disappears. Hundreds of multinationals that would never have considered the Middle East opened regional headquarters in Dubai, specifically because the free zones let them operate on their own terms. And then real estate. This is the part that reads like a geopolitical chess move. In 2002, Dubai allowed foreigners to own property for the first time in a region where land ownership by non-nationals is almost universally prohibited. This was an extraordinary signal. Overnight, Dubai became the only place in the Arab world where a Russian oligarch, a British banker, an Indian tech founder, and a Chinese manufacturer could all own physical assets with genuine legal title. Money from everywhere on earth began flowing into Dubai concrete, and concrete, unlike oil, doesn't run out. None of this came without a price, and not just a financial one. The workers who built every tower, laid every road, and assembled every luxury mall interior came almost entirely from South Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal. At its peak, migrant workers made up over 85% of Dubai's population and the vast majority of its labor force. Many arrived having paid recruitment fees they couldn't afford, found wages lower than promised, and lived in labor camps far from the gleaming city they were building. Human rights organizations have spent decades documenting conditions that sit very uncomfortably alongside Dubai's luxury brand. The city also carries debt, significant structural debt from the ambition of building faster than revenue could always support. In 2009, when the global financial crisis hit, Dubai's debt crisis became world news. Abu Dhabi bailed it out. The irony of the city built to be independent from oil being rescued by its oil-rich neighbor was not lost on anyone. And the version of freedom Dubai sells, the zero tax, the free zones, the foreign ownership, exists within a political system where the ruler's word is law, dissent is not tolerated, and the press operates within clear boundaries. The trade Dubai is offering the world is prosperity without democracy. Plenty of people have taken that trade. Plenty of others have decided they couldn't. Here's what you're left with after you look at all of it honestly. A family that inherited a fishing village on the edge of a desert, watched their main industry collapse, found a modest reserve of oil everyone told them would eventually run out, and decided to use the window it gave them to build something that would outlast it. Made deliberate, sometimes ruthless, sometimes genuinely brilliant choices about infrastructure, about tax, about land ownership, about what a city needs to make people feel like they have to be there. Did they get everything right? No. Is the city they built without complications? Far from it. But in 1960, a photographer arrived in Dubai with less than $1 and found nothing but desert signs to follow. His grandson was born in Dubai in 2005, and that grandson grew up in a city with the tallest building on earth. That didn't happen by accident. It happened because someone looked at sand and decided to treat it like a blueprint. Dubai is one of the most studied economic experiments of the last century, but what it proved, that a city can be engineered from scratch with the right incentives, is a model that other places are now trying to copy. The question of whether it can actually be replicated is a whole other story.